Why we're born in a certain place, in a certain family? That's because karma, it is explained that we share something. We share something with our environment. We share something with our friends. We share something with our, nationality and all of that. And therefore, in life, we come with certain, we can call it baggage of things. We come with a certain set of things that influence our life and that are acquired, that are whatever they are. If you don't believe in reincarnation, okay, this is the genetic inheritance, and these are the circumstances. So we're born with certain circumstances, and these circumstances, we can call them our basic actions, our basic reactions, our basic baggage that we're coming with, and we have to work through it. This is how it is, whatever the reasons are. Now, in all these old, ancient and very profound literature of knowledge, karma is considered unfathomable. So it is not always possible to figure out why something happens with you. But one can actually figure out what one can do today. And that is where it becomes very important how to deal with karma. Before we get to that, also I want to emphasize that an action at its own level is not only the physical action that we do, it is also the mental situation in which we are, the feelings with which we do the action, the intentions, the purpose. So all of these color our awareness. Even though action itself is very specific and it leads to a specific reaction, but how we live through the experience is also very important. Suppose you're driving on the street and it's night and you're driving safely and a little cat comes and jumps and it gets hurt or something. So that is an action, it has a reaction. It will annoy you, you'll be upset, you might get a small karma out of it, but it's very different from somebody intentionally driving with malice and wanting to hurt a cat. And that means they have lived on the level of consciousness, two different experiences, even though on the physical level, these two experiences might be the same, driving a car, hitting a cat on the street. But one has lived it as an experience that is unexpected, and the other has lived it as an intentional harm experience. And since everything ultimately is registered in our awareness, in our consciousness, then the way you live the experience, the way you experience the thing, is what leaves an impact on you. And you might ask, where is this karma actually registered? Is there somebody keeping a record? And we can say, yes, it's in nature, but ultimately it is in yourself. It's your consciousness that keeps a record of every good thing you do and every bad thing you do. And that you have to kind of, when the time comes, when consciousness evolves or when consciousness reaches a certain point, you face these good things that you have done or these bad things that you have done. They are registered in your nervous system. And they can be, part of what we call stress on the nervous system and strain on the nervous system. Now, having said this, intention is not good enough. You cannot go ahead and do something even with the best intention, and that thing would be like harmful to society or harmful to people. So even with intention, it helps, of course, it reduces the effect, but some people do horrible things with what they think is amazing, great intention. We've seen horrible things, like in terrorism and all of that, where people think they're working for God and they have this amazing, devotion to God that they're willing to die and kill for God. And therefore, is it enough because they have a right intention or fantastic intention that they can do this? Obviously not. It's very horrible, and because they are destroying life, and living through that experience is going to damage their consciousness very deeply. So to have good intention is not good enough, but a good intention is all helpful and sometimes helps in reducing the impact of one's karma. So if intention is not good enough, also ignorance is no excuse. You know, you can drive up in the traffic against the traffic, and go driving in a one-way street, but against the traffic, and the police person comes and they give you a ticket, and you say, I didn't know it was like that. It doesn't matter. You have to get the ticket. So the action ultimately predominates in terms of these things. Of course, intention, knowledge, how you live the experience are also important in managing this situation. Now, if you live with somebody, you become friends with somebody who has a set of karma, that means you are also sharing to some extent the situation. Now, you might say that it's already your karma that you have ended up with a person who has bad karma or good karma. That is also understandable because there are laws and we follow the laws of nature. And therefore, you ended up there somehow because of some karma. But you have also the choice. So it is very important that when we are in certain places, we meet with certain things, that we always think to have that which is healthy, that which is good, that which is positive. And that brings us to the idea or the main questions, how to handle karma. We have accumulated for unfathomable reasons some karmas, and now we want to see what to do with it. Can we just burn it off and get rid of it and make it fly away? It's not possible to make it fly away just like that, but it is possible to mitigate it and balance it and reduce it and buy it back in a sense. And for this, we have an example that we use, and that is if you take a loan from the bank, and sometimes goes and you have to pay interest and loan and all of that, and suppose you did poorly and you didn't invest it well, and now the time has come to pay the loan. And you come and you find yourself not so wealthy, poor, and the loan will feel horrible if it's, like, say, $10,000, $100,000 or euros or pounds or whatever, rupees. Rupees is not so much. And you have to pay it. So you have to pay that loan. There is no way out. But suppose you have become really wealthy, you have invested it well, and you have grown so wealthy, so huge, that you're now a billionaire, you know, multi-billionaire in rupees, multi-millionaire in pounds or whatever, in dollars and euros and all of that. And now the loan has to be paid, 1,000, 10,000. For a billionaire, 100,000. The billionaire doesn't have to know even. She doesn't have to think that she has to pay it. It's her secretary that pays it, and it gets done without feeling it. So it's the same loan, it's the same karma. As an example, it's the same situation, but the payback is much more easy and sometimes not even noticeable because your secretary pays it. Now, what does it mean in terms of karma? Since we said everything is on the level of consciousness, every payment is on the level of consciousness, because the pain you feel from the experience of a karma coming back to you is on the level of consciousness. If you were not conscious, you were a zombie or you're in coma, who cares? I mean, you don't feel anything. If they pinch you even, you don't feel it, but you're in coma, so you're not existing there. So it's all a question of awareness, a question of consciousness.